Morning, everybody. Welcome back to Congregation Brith Shalom, where we have our weekly class on Shabbat bliss. But before we begin, we're going to talk about the counting of the Omer, which last night was counting. We counted day number 47, and the corresponding way that our sages have taught us in Mishnah 6 of chapter 6 in Ethics of Our Fathers, that corresponds to that day of the Omer is hamachavenet shmuato, and that is to organize your wisdom, to organize your mind. Organizing wisdom is the most important step in gaining control of your life. We all hear and have these little tidbits of knowledge, little tidbits that we hear here, we hear there, wherever we go. But what a person needs to do is organize those ideas, and whether or not it's in a notebook, whether or not it's in their brain, whether or not it's in any other form of organization, it is important for us to have a system of organization so that we can retain our information. The biggest challenge that a person can face with attaining wisdom is not being organized. If the person isn't organized, so they're all over the place, both in their life but also in their wisdom. They're just what they call in Yiddish zerfliegen, is all over the place. Wow. All right. So, unless you make a conscious decision to remember something, you are likely to forget it. Right? A piece of information that is worth gathering, it's worth organizing. Right? If it's worth enough for you to go read that book, right? Find something from that book, like we discussed in previous ways, that you can apply to your life. But organize it. Organize that wisdom. And what I have is I have many, many, many different books and folders, right? I have one here for the 48 ways. I have one here for Shabbat bliss. And every time I hear something that's important and pertinent to each of these ways, I write it down. And I have my notes all over, as you see here. I have my notes that I keep on. Oh, I heard a nice story. Let me add it to something. You know, it's very important for us to organize our wisdom, to organize our thoughts. Now, it's also important for us to organize our day-to-day lives. Now, there's a book by, I believe it's David Allen. It's called Getting Things Done. And he has a principle of the 4 Ds. And the principle is as follows. Do it, delegate it, defer it, or delete it, discard it. And that is for me, it's helped me organize my office. It helps me organize a lot of the different tasks that come up every day. There's some that need to get done immediately. There's some that you can delegate. You can give it to an assistant, you can give it to an advisor, you can give it to a friend, you can give it to a spouse, you can give it to a child. Not every task does every person need to do. We can't do everything. You can't be also the bottle washer and the janitor and the rabbi and the gabbai and the chazan and the shofar blower and the everything, right? You have to have different things, different tasks for different people. So do it. Some tasks you can actually do, get them done. Delegate it. Defer it. Things that I can't get done today. In a month I can have time to do it, okay? And then there are others another one which is delete it, right? Think of your email inbox, right? How many can you respond to immediately? How many, you know what, I can't handle this now, I'll deal with it later. Delegate it, pass it on to your assistant, they should deal with it for you, or delete it. But the idea is that by organizing these, whether it's in this, if it's in this system or in a different system, as long as you're able to organize your mind. The problem is if we just have more and more and more and more coming in, we don't organize anything, then we're drowning. We're drowning in information, we're drowning in, even if we're drowning in wisdom, it's not a good thing if it's not organized. So being organized, right, and then once you have that organization, you're able to make associations between pieces of wisdom. But if it's not organized, it's all one big mess, which is why, personally, I find that what I teach in Judaism, what I try to teach, and what I try to impart to all of those at all of our classes, is to have things organized. Right? We have this, we discussed, how many times have people told me that they're confused about knowing, the order of where things come from, right? It has to be organized, otherwise people don't know what is the written law, what is the oral law, how does halacha come, where is the midrash from, right? Kabbalah, what is that, where does that come into Judaism? These things need to be organized, and a person needs to organize. We see that in the Mishnah is called Shisha Starim. The 6 orders, it has to be in order. Everyone falls into a specific category. Now, when we started to do the 48 ways, I think we actually said this offline, so we'll say it now online. There are 6 orders of the Mishnah, as we see here in this document, right? Anybody who wants a copy of this, I'll happily send you the PDF. Just email me at awolbe@torchweb.org. I'll happily send it to you. It won't come laminated via email, but you'll at least have the document. So we have 6 orders. Number 1 is Zra'im, which means seeds. It's all the agricultural laws and the laws for blessings. Moed, which is the second one, which is holidays. And that's referring to Shabbat and all the Jewish holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Pesach, Purim, etc., right? Nashim, all women's issues, women and relationships. Number 4 is Nizikin, which is all damages, civil and criminal law. Kodshim, which is holiness, which is offerings and dietary laws. And Taharot, which is purity, which is temple, spiritual, and family laws. Right? So these 4 categories, these 6 categories. Where would you put Avot? Ethics of our fathers. So most people immediately jump to say that it's going to be in holiness or purity, right? Because to be a good person, to be a kind, that's holy, that's pure. But our sages, in their incredible wisdom, in their divine wisdom, put it in a different place. They put it in damages, in the category of damages. Why? Because someone who doesn't have good character traits, someone who's angry, someone who's jealous, is like a bull in a china shop. And they're going to hurt other people. They're going to damage other people. They're going to embarrass other people. They're going to insult other people. So it's critically important for a person to know that if you don't have proper conduct, if you don't have good midot, good character traits, you're capable of literally damaging other people. That's why our sages put avot, ethics of our fathers, in nezikin, in damages, in that category. But it's so important for that order to be there, for there to be order. That's why it's called Shishas Darim. It's 6 orders. It has to be organized. We also have the Pesach. What is it called? The Pesach Seder. Seder means order. Putting things, making sure that things have an order. There's a right time for everything. We discussed this a few weeks ago in one of the ways. We discussed that there's a right time for everything. Actually, this was way number, I don't remember what way it was. One of the first 5 where we discussed that everything has its time and its place. Right? A child, we cut their hair first. A boy, we cut their hair first at the age of 3. At the age of 5, we start learning with them Chumash. At the age of 10, we start learning with them Mishnah. At the age of 15, we start learning with them Talmud. At the age of 13, they now are responsible for mitzvahs. At the age of 18, they're supposed to, from the age of 18, begin to pursue marriage. And it's so on and so forth. At the age of 20, certain responsibilities. At the age of 30, it's all in the Mishnah in the Mishnah, give me a second. It's in the Mishnah, chapter 5, Mishnah 21 of Ethics of Our Fathers. And it is so important for us to know that in Judaism, everything is designed by order. If you have a disarray, you have disorganized information, it's worthless. So we have the 5 books of the Torah. We have the 6 books of the Mishnah. We have the Talmud, each one divided by a specific category, to tell us you have to organize your life, you have to organize your mind. There's a way that each of us are responsible to our wisdom, and that is by organizing it. So, we're almost on our way of finishing up the 48 ways before we start all over again, right? Learning these 48 ways. It's not going to be on video, unfortunately. You will have it on Facebook and YouTube. But I want to thank all of our viewers for watching. Tomorrow or tonight, we're going to count. We're going to do the 48th way, and then hopefully post one large video, all of the ways, one after the other. I should maybe do it on double speed, so people can. But next way is going to be the last of the 48 ways to maximize life. Each of these are incredible, incredible tools that the Almighty has given us to really enhance every day of our existence on planet Earth. So with that, my friends, thank you so much. Please, if you like this video, like it. If you didn't like it, share it at least so other people perhaps can like it. Have a lovely day. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. And you're always welcome to join us at our classes. You can visit torchweb.org for the full list of classes. And you can join us live, not only